If you're anything like me, you hate the disgusting but sometimes inevitable build-up of filth on the top of your aquarium. This is a very common issue in aquariums. You can see here we've got this layer of oil, there's even some flake food stuck in it. It is really quite rough and I hate seeing it. In this particular tank I actually built a little overflow to stop this issue. But in a lot of non-marine aquariums, the idea of having an overflow isn't really an option. Most of the time you'll be running an internal filter or you'll be running an external canister filter. They don't tend to come with the option of an overflow to remove that surface scum. And that's why today we're looking at the Fluval SK400. This is a surface skimmer. It's not a filter specifically like an internal filter. What it does do is it allows the water to go into it and pump out, removing all that debris that we just saw. So these kinds of gadgets have been around for a long time. I've been using one by All Pond Solutions on pretty much all of my aquariums throughout the time I've been keeping fish, and they are really very impressive pieces of kit. You can see on here the surface of my water is perfectly clear. Now this one is very basic. It doesn't have as many features as the Fluval model we're about to look at, but you can basically see the idea of what these gadgets do. If we have a quick look at the box, we can see all the different features. And I'm actually really impressed with how many different features they've managed to fit into what is actually quite a simple item. We can see the power usage here in North America and the EU. Obviously you'll be receiving different plugs depending on where you are situated. Some of the benefits: removing organic film on the water surface, and also another little benefit is it will help to improve your oxygen exchange. As the water flows down there, it's going to be mixing with the atmosphere, increasing the oxygen content of your water. And here are the different features. We've got total flow control. We've got a little switch here that allows us to control the flow of the motor. We've got a flow direction control, which allows us to change where the water outputs. And then we've got a control on the actual skimmer part itself, which allows us to speed up or slow down the amount of water that is being sucked down. And this particular model is for up to 400 litres. And that is actually quite impressive, because I'm imagining, because I've not opened this box yet, it's quite a small piece of kit. We can absolutely see that this isn't going to take up too much room in our tanks. It's completely made of plastic, and then we can see some of the features here. We've got this here, which you can either have it blasting out or put it over and it's going to be more diffused. It's going to sort of go outwards like that in a sort of a big ball of water. We've got a flow, so less flow, more flow. Then we have this red thing here, which allows us to speed up or slow down the amount of water that's going into the unit. And then we have the intake, which actually floats up and down. And this allows it to always be at the surface of your water. So you set it up close to its max, and then as you have evaporation, it will gently go down. At the back, we've got 3 suction cups to keep it nicely attached to your aquarium glass. So what they have done, as you can see here, and it is mentioned on the box, is they've actually made the mounting suction cups stick out a little bit from the main body of the unit. And why this is important is because it allows you to mount this onto aquariums that have quite a thick rim around the edge of the top of the glass. Obviously on a rimless tank, not an issue, but actually on the aquarium I'm about to mount it to, this is actually really handy, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to use this piece of equipment. So I think what we'll do now is have a look inside of it and see if there's any filter media, because that's quite important to me. And there is a bit of sponge. The reason that's important, it's only a little tiny piece, isn't it? But this is what is going to be capturing all of the debris and dirt that's getting taken away by this inlet here. What I'd probably recommend you do actually, and it's what I've done on my other surface skimmers, is replace that sponge with something like this, filter floss, because this is much finer, and I find that a sponge like this isn't really going to capture much of the debris and dirt that's coming down that pipe. You're really going to want to replace it with some filter floss. However, that does mean this needs regular changing, probably once or twice a week. In here, it's pretty simple. That's our flow adjuster. You can see it in action. So you've got full power and then I guess half power. Access to the impeller is important because we're going to want to be cleaning that. Let's see if we can find a way in. I imagine that comes off, and then there we go, that comes off as well. Very basic impeller. You'll find these to be on most of the sort of cheaper pumps, but that does mean that these are easily replaceable. And let's just bear in mind, this unit has a very simple job. Suck water down one end, blow it out the other. So we don't need anything fancy on this particular little motor unit. Let's put it all back together, and then what we'll do is we'll stick it on that aquarium I showed you at the start, and we'll see it in action. So here it is installed on my Fluval Shaker aquarium, and we can see the importance of this design here, the way that it's poking out a little bit away from the glass. Because if we follow it up, we can see that the actual intake is now perfectly away from this rim. If we didn't have that design, this unit would actually be impossible to use on this aquarium. So a very good little bit of design there, isn't it? So let's plug it in now, and we'll see how quickly it starts to suck all this filth from the top of my aquarium. There it goes, look, all that scum is getting sucked into that intake, which is exactly what we want. Now in my experience, this actually clean at the top of this surface, the entire thing, pretty quickly actually. You can see the flow moving quite quickly. Obviously it's going to be cyclic, isn't it, because it's going to be going around the aquarium because we've got the output here. This also is good for adding a little bit of extra flow to your tank. If you struggle with your internal filter, perhaps you just want some more flow, this is something you can add. Dual purpose, get more flow, and also you clean the dirt. Look at that. That's very satisfying to watch, isn't it? And I would imagine within maybe half an hour to an hour, the surface of this tank will be perfectly clean.